Hey, what's up? This is Joe. In this video, I continue the journey east across the Great Plains and into the Appalachian Mountains. Riding, camping, and meeting up with some friends along the way. And ultimately experiencing yet another breakdown in the middle of nowhere. It was all going so well. After replacing my cam chain tensioner for the second time, I'd ridden nearly 1,000 miles from Sturgis to Illini State Park in Illinois. After about 4 days of relatively hard riding, I've just kind of been sitting here relaxing. The weather's been absolutely beautiful. So my buddy Joe Sparrow is about 100 miles south of here. So I'm gonna head down there and meet up with him, hang out for a bit, and then continue heading east. The previous night, I'd run into a motorcycle couple at the park who brought me a plate of delicious pork tacos they'd made from scratch. They even fried up the tortillas nice and crispy. The man was getting too old to ride, he said, but had been going to Sturgis since the 80s. Before I left, he told me about a phenomenal ride just west of Illini called Starved Rock. From Starved Rock, I slowly made my way south on back roads to where Joe was staying at his friend's place in Emden, Illinois. It was around this time I began harboring a sneaking suspicion that something was about to go wrong. At times I swore I could hear a rattle occasionally when accelerating and rolling off the throttle, but the bike was still running great, and the noise was soft enough that I wondered if I'd just been imagining it. The motorcycle collection at Joe's friend Kurt's place was absolutely next level insane. Everywhere you looked, there were classic motorcycles. Some of these bikes he'd literally built from scratch, starting with nothing but a pile of parts and the will to follow through with the project.
It's about ready to go.
Well, no, it's all kind of rusty, dirty, so you want to try to clean that out. Squirt some contact cleaner in there or whatever. See that down in that right there?
Yep. Talk to it. Spit on that thing.
We hung out watching Charlie Bravo mess with his shifter linkage until the sun went down, painting the Illinois sky a fiery red. Wow, man, that sunset is crazy, man. The next morning, I packed up my stuff and continued heading due east in the direction of Danville, Illinois. From the moment I left, I was fighting with rainy and windy conditions, and after about 100 miles or so, I decided to say screw it and stopped in the beautiful Kickapoo State Park, just a little outside of Danville. All right, so this is Kickapoo State Park, another awesome, cheap, $10 a night Illinois State Park with showers. I'd intended on putting down a few more miles yesterday, but it was just nasty, drizzly, windy. Just really wasn't feeling it, frankly. So today I'm gonna head to my buddy Dwight's place just south of Indianapolis a little way, probably taking mostly back roads through the state of Indiana. After I got to my buddy Dwight's place in Martinsville, I tried my best not to think about those sneaking suspicions concerning my bike. At least for the time being, it was still running like a top. So I've been camping out here on my buddy Dwight's porch for the last couple of days. Slowly getting motivated, drinking some coffee, getting back on the road and heading down into the state of Kentucky. There was a crazy serpentarium in Slade, Kentucky, which I'd been dying to go to for several years. Aside from sounding a little rough at lower speeds and when accelerating, the bike was still running fine. By the time I got to Slade, I felt almost sure I had another problem on my hands. Nevertheless, I finally made it to the world-famous Kentucky Reptile Zoo. Here at this facility, they do an unprecedented quantity of venom extractions for scientific research and house an amazing variety of rare and exotic snakes from around the world. After thoroughly checking out all the displays, I talked to the tour guide who helped me identify a venomous snake I'd seen on the road in Guatemala. He identified it as an extremely dangerous terciopello, with the scientific name of Bothrops asper. In fact, it's one of the most dangerous snakes in Central and South America, and if the bite goes untreated, its venom causes the flesh to literally rot from the inside out. That's pretty scary.
And you compare that to something like, here's a green mamba. This is an eastern green mamba.
Wow. The town of Slade really wasn't so much a town as a place on the map. The only food I had on me was a little bit of beef jerky and some water. I could sense the problem with my bike was now becoming worse, so I headed to a nearby campground to try to relax and think about what to do next. So I'm waiting on this rain to stop. I actually camped over there. This is sort of an established campground not far from the Kentucky Reptile Zoo, which, as you saw, I went to yesterday, and that was totally awesome. Was able to kind of get everything moved under this shelter before it really started raining. Another kind of disconcerting sound coming from my engine yet again, about 250 odd miles away from home, so wish me luck. When I started the bike, the sound was unmistakable. With a sound like that, I wasn't going to be going far. There had been no cell service to speak of at the campground, so I limped the bike over to a gas station about 3 miles away. All right, so the noise coming from my bike has been impossible to ignore. I don't feel comfortable riding it in this condition. Made some calls. A buddy hooked me up with a guy about 15 minutes away, so he's coming down here with the truck and trailer, just playing it by ear from there. Well, there she is. The old boy took me on a hair-raising drive about 30 minutes through the mountains to his property. After doing some more thinking and making some calls, I decided on renting a U-Haul from another little town about 30 minutes away. My new friend was nice enough to once again drive me out, although we'd first need to make a pit stop to the hospital to pick up his wife who had just had knee surgery. Got her in this U-Haul. That seems to be the quickest and easiest way to get it back home. That way I can work on it when I get there. And I think we got enough ratchet straps on it. Got 8 total. It was around 5 o'clock by the time we'd gotten the bike loaded and I hit the road. I had a whole lot of twisty mountain driving ahead of me, and it was doubtful I'd make it home in one shot. In spite of the circumstances with this cam chain tensioner, which constantly seems to be going out, I'm actually enjoying this ride. The leaves are starting to turn. It's a beautiful sort of late summer day. And I got the gorgeous Appalachian mountains obviously to drive through, which for me are home. So plan is to get the bike home, get ready to go down to Maryville, Tennessee and do this Smoky Mountain Bike Week. It won't be long before Biketoberfest, and then after that I'm flying back to Southeast Asia for the winter. So I got a lot to think about, man. This bike has really sort of put me through my paces in more ways than one. I mean, from the time I left Virginia until now, returning to Virginia, I've broken down 3 times. I love the bike. It's absolutely my favorite bike I've ever owned. I couldn't imagine how I would live happily without that front storage space. It's lightweight. I can maneuver it easily off-road, through traffic. It's just really disappointing. I talked to a couple of professional mechanics today. I said, well, could it be maybe a bad chain or something like that that's throwing that tensioner out? And they said, probably not. They said at 30,000 miles on the bike, it's unlikely that it would go out. But their opinion on it was it's just a bad design by Honda. So like I said, all the parts are on back order right now, which raises some suspicions, raises some questions. Hopefully they're working on a better version, which will supersede this one, which will hopefully last a little longer. But I don't know, man, a lot to think about. All right, this is the town of Hazard, Kentucky. Black Gold Festival. Now, you might be wondering if this town was the alleged location for the show The Dukes of Hazzard. The answer is no. The Duke boys actually hailed from a town of the same name in the mountains of Georgia. Definitely a cool little town. Regardless, several of the cast members from the show famously paid a visit here during the Black Gold Festival I just mentioned. There's the Broken Spoke Lounge, looks like a biker bar. And cool little bridge. Before long it began raining again, and as I lost all daylight, I found myself riding through the mountains in a dense fog. I made it into the state of Virginia. I think it's Norton, Virginia is where I'm at. Foggy and rainy. I can't even see the lines on the road, so found this hotel for 47 bucks. Just feel better going ahead and stopping. Got off to a kind of a late start. I can't see shit, so every once in a while I gotta dip into my rainy day fund, literally. So this is one of those days. Man, this place is freaking horrible, dude. All screwed up. Lights. A lot of the lights are not even in there, not working. It's just gonna be one of those nights. It looks like they got a bunch of, like, I don't want to call them crackheads. It's just got a really nasty, seedy vibe to it. I should have known the reviews on it were like 1.5 stars, but for like 47 bucks a night, what do you expect? But I have no working key to the place, so if I leave, I have to go get the guy from the front desk to come and open it up. He can't get the key to work, but I got the U-Haul out there where I can sort of keep an eye on it. And otherwise, this is just one of those shitty nights. It was foggy as hell the next morning as I made the final push towards home. I got the bike unloaded. I looked everywhere in the United States for another one of these cam chain tensioners. Can't find one anywhere in this country. The only one I found was on eBay in Japan. So best case scenario, it should be here in about 2 weeks. So yeah, this whole thing's a little bit of a kick in the balls, but fortunately my family's got a car that they're gonna let me borrow to go down to Maryville, Tennessee and work the Smoky Mountain Bike Week. Feel free to come by and say hi if you happen to be in the area. And then hopefully by the time I get back from that, I'll have another part to go ahead and throw in this, see how it holds up after that. So in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and start packing up, getting ready for this Smoky Mountain Bike Week. Just a quick reminder, if you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe. And as usual, I've included an optional donate link in the drop box for anybody that might like to contribute to this project. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the road.